This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are facing the prospect of not having LeBron for tonight's home game against Charlotte. Soreness in LeBron's left foot and ankle forced the Lakers to list him as questionable for the team's first game in the second half of the season. The soreness led LeBron to sit out Sunday's NBA All-Star game in San Francisco. The Lakers play at Portland Thursday night. It's unlikely the 40-year-old LeBron will play in back-to-back games. The Lakers are at Denver on Saturday. A positive sign for the Lakers tonight is the increase in minutes for Luka Doncic. Doncic averaged 23.5 minutes in his first two games with the Lakers. Now that Doncic has recovered from a strained calf muscle, Lakers coach J.J. Redick said the minutes restriction on Doncic will be lifted. Look for Doncic to handle the ball a whole lot more if LeBron does not play. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Just to see her, just to touch her, just to hold her in my arms again, one more time. If I could feel her warm embrace, see her smiling face, can't find anyone to take her place. I've got to see her again. I would do anything. I would go anywhere. There's nothing I wouldn't do just to see her again.
We are celebrating the 85th birthday of William Smokey Robinson Jr. Happy birthday, Smokey. All 3 hours of our program today, we're playing some of Smoke's best stuff. One of the greatest songwriters to ever live. We celebrate the 85th natal day of Smokey Robinson today. In this hour, as promised, two conversations. We're still trying to squeeze this 800-pound show into a 600-pound bag. Different conversation every 30 minutes on today's program. They are working me, but I'm loving it. In this hour, two conversations on the B side of this hour. The real-life person behind Coleman Domingo's Oscar-nominated performance in the film Sing Sing, John Divine G. Whitfield, on his work and witness fighting to free those wrongfully convicted. But we commenced this hour in conversation with Professor Rita Omoka about her new text, Resist, How a Century of Young Black Activists Shaped America. Professor Omoka, good to have you on. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I'm doing well and delighted to have you on the program. Let me go. I want to make the most of these 25 or 30 minutes that we have here. Let me go straight inside the book. I'm going to turn this page right quick here to your introduction. I was fascinated by the way you open the text. Let me quote, I am African. I am American. Nigeria made me. Black America raised me. My roots dig deep in Nigerian soil, while America has nourished my branches for more than 2 decades, and you go on from there. I am fascinated as to how one with that kind of backstory gets interested in the story of how young black activists helped to shape this country. Tell me more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in this country. I grew up in the South Bronx as obviously a black immigrant. And I think there's a privilege that comes with growing up in this country and not really understanding the full extent of what it means to be a black American, right? So, for example, I did not grow up in a home where, my grandma, my auntie, or anyone at home told me stories about Jim Crow or about the Great Migration or what it was just like basically walking around the streets of New York or the streets of this country in this skin color. Because if you know about, African nations, we're not a skin color, we're by our tribe. So in my country, I'm Edo, that's my tribe. Mm-hmm. So there was something fascinating about just growing up the way I grew up and having that privilege because of the insulation it really takes to grow up in this country in that way. So in 2020, as we remember that year very well, George Floyd was killed on May 26, 2020. And 5 days before that, I graduated from Columbia with my master's degree in journalism. And so watching George Floyd die, the way he was so brutally murdered in such a vicious way, I felt something. It's hard to explain what it was, but something in me just clicked. And I started asking myself questions about Black identity and what it means to be me in this time. So one of the blessings of graduating from Columbia was I graduated top of my class, and I got a lot of, awards and scholarships for that. And so one of them was the Pulitzer Traveling Fellowship, and it was thousands of dollars. I used that money to travel across the country. And one of the stops is what really piqued my interest and what led to the book. It was in Portland, and I came upon a protest led by young teenagers. And there was like hundreds of people, young people. And as I watched them that day just protest, all young people of color, some allies were there. I just started asking myself questions like, how do they even know they can organize and protest and galvanize in this way? And that became the genesis for Resist. I wanted to understand the origin story of young Black people, especially because I had never thought about it intentionally.
I'm glad I asked that question because that backstory allows me to frame this conversation, and I thank you for that. Let me just ask, broadly speaking, we'll get more specific as we move through the time that we have here, but broadly speaking, how do you see the way in which young Black activists have shaped America? That's putting a lot on it, and I don't disagree. We have done just that. But broadly speaking, what are the ways in which you think we have shaped this country?
So what young people do, even to this day, is they inject a level of idealism into protesting and resistance, right? So I think even looking at the research, a lot of young people got into it because they felt idealistic, right? They felt like we can actually achieve a more perfect union. Mm-hmm. The difference between younger generation and even today older generation is the older generation, they're not really disconnected because they once were the younger generation who were fighting the resistance at the forefront. What changes is you start to have a better understanding of governance and how things work. You start to understand and see firsthand the red tape that's in place for, let's say you want to make a change. There's a lot that goes into, for example, passing a bill in Congress. So what I love and what I still see today in young Black activists or even their allies is they inject a certain vigor and rigor when it comes to activism and reminding us of why it's important that each generation has to carry the mantle and continue to fight.
The frame is set. When we come forward, we'll go straight way inside the text. It's called Resist, How a Century of Young Black Activists Shaped America. The author of that book is our guest in this half hour, Professor Rita Amoka. More with her when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stopped, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
You've lost so much weight. How'd you do it?
I got medical treatment for weight loss through Zelty and lost 50 pounds. I struggled for the longest time, but Zelty makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelty providers can prescribe FDA-approved weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight, like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others.
I've heard those medications can help you lose weight, but aren't they expensive?
Zelty can help get the medication covered by insurance, so it's as little as $0 a month.
What if you don't have insurance?
No problem. Zelty may be able to help you get other GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% off the price of name brand medications.
I'm ready to start losing weight. How do I get started with Zelty?
Just text.
Text SUNNY to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy and Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text SUNNY to 200-300. That's SUNNY to 200-300. SUNNY to 200-300.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shaped Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
It's KBLA Talk 1580's third annual Black History Month Luncheon, and you're invited. This is year 2 of our climate justice work, and this year's $2 million 12-month campaign is all about linking and combating the relationship between climate and Black health. We already know that these wildfires will leave in their wake even greater inequities, including negative impacts on Black health, given the toxic air pollutants circulating in the air we breathe. So, as part of this year's climate campaign, we're honoring Black doctors and leaders in healthcare at our annual Black History Month Luncheon, Friday, February 28th at noon. If you would like to join us, just go to our KBLA 1580 website and register for your chance to be our guest at the luncheon. We'd love to see you. And in case you haven't heard the news, KBLA Talk 1580 was just named one of the semifinalists for the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down. Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You may dismiss me as unimportant, a guy who's only in the corner of your eye. Right now I know I'm just a fleeting moment. I'm just an easy friend on whom you can depend. But darling, there will come a day.
Happy 85th birthday, Smokey Robinson. We love you and we celebrate you. Smokey he is resuming his residency in Vegas in April. So somebody said age is just a number, and I think Smokey is Exhibit A in that regard. We continue our conversation now with Professor Rita Amoka. Her new book is called Resist: How a Century of Young Black Activists Shaped America. I want to, again, make the most of the time we have here, Professor Amoka. Tell me more about what your research revealed to you about the roots, the making of Black youth activism in this country.
Yeah, I think overarchingly, the biggest takeaway for me was realizing, again, that having that immigrant perspective, that freedom isn't free, right? But today it seems like the fight for it is more alarming because we've seen and are seeing some fundamental rights being stripped away. When you think about the 1920s and 1930s, freedom itself was so new. People were just recently free from being enslaved. But today we're seeing those fundamental rights being taken away. And I think that was one thing that was really striking for me. And so I think the biggest takeaway that we can all walk away with and have some practical kind of toolkit right now is understand that our voice is our greatest ally. That is something that every single young person and group that I wrote about, that's one thing they understood. They understood that our voice is our weapon, right? So to fight any resistance, to be part, I should say, of any resistance, that is the beginning stage, understanding that your voice is your ultimate ally. But you first have to understand the power of using it to stand up for what's right, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. Some people die trying to fight for this freedom. So past movements and the roots of it, what it teaches is that real change happens when people refuse to be silent in the face of injustice.
I love the way you lay out the text. Let me just share with the audience in advance of their getting the book, Resist, How a Century of Young Black Activists Shaped America. Let me just describe how the text is laid out. It's in three parts. The first part is called The Scottsboro Nine Generation and the Making of Black Youth Activism. The second part is called The Brown v. Board of Education Generation and the Civil Rights Era. And the third part is the Trayvon Martin generation and a new wave of young revolutionaries. Tell me more about the way and why you decided to break the book up in these sections, these parts, these generational pieces, as it were.
Yeah, because from my overall research, I realized that in every generation, so in every time that I studied, there was this passing of the mantle, if you will, when it came to sustaining the fight. So before, there was no idea of what freedom was like, and then we had the Civil Rights Act of 1964, but the fight didn't stop there. Just because fundamental rights were enshrined into the law doesn't mean that people were no longer racist, right? So every generation had an understanding that they had to carry the mantle, and oftentimes it just took one person or one incident to spark the fight. And so I did it in this way to showcase that going from 1920 to 1950, which is the first section, there was a different kind of fight. Then we fast forward to 1950, 1960 to 1990, another kind of fight. Then we enter this new wave. What is so fascinating about this new wave of young activists is they have technology. That is what is so different. They have social media. Whereas back in the day, the organizing happened by word of mouth, at church, at schools. Now, you can reach millions of people on Twitter, on Instagram, and you can organize quicker. And that's how, going back to how I got to get the idea for the book, that's how the Portland protest was organized, was through social media. So I wanted to showcase how in every generation, there was always young people who understood, keenly aware of the fight before them, and they were the ones at the forefront saying, this is my future. I want to be part of protecting, safeguarding, and fortifying democracy. And so that was just so fascinating to me to see how every generation understood the assignment and they carried that mantle. Yeah.
How would you define the difference? You mentioned earlier a different kind of fight in every generation. How would you define the difference in the fight from part one of your text, the Scottsboro Nine Generation, the Making of Black Youth Activism, versus part two of your text, the Brown v. Board of Education Generation and the Civil Rights Era? We're still fighting. How was the fight different from 1920 to 1950 and 50 on?
That's a great question. I think today's youth movements, they're continuing the legacy of past activists by, the organizing, mobilizing, and they're still demanding justice. But I think what is fundamentally different now, like I mentioned, is the technology and how they're doing it. I think in every generation, the how is what changed. So it went from word of mouth, then it went to getting allies in journalism, then it went to post mail, then it went to radio, and now we have the amazing technology that we have that enables them to organize them. But I think underpinning all of that is still understanding that there's a need to sustain the fight for justice, because it doesn't stop. Because when it does stop in each generation, then that means we fear going back. Like, think about right now with this new administration, what they're doing is they're reverting a lot of the fundamental rights we had. And so I think we're going to see a new age of young activists rise up because of this.
You've used the word allies a few times, 4 times by my count already in this conversation. It's a great word, but since you used it a few times, I want to give you a chance to unpack it. What does your research reveal to you in the writing of this book, Resist: How a Century of Young Black Activists Shaped America? How have our allies changed or not in our fight over all these decades and centuries?
Yeah, I think first, I think allies are so important because, especially, let me just say, white people, right? So because they are considered American, the definition of American exceptionalism, right? So when they stand in front, in a sense, of the fight, they're able to have more results, right? They're able to step in the gap and speak more and be heard a bit more. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's a partner at this, top 5 firm, and she's a white woman. And at her company, they've gutted DEI. And I told her, I said, now is the time for you to step up. I said, just based on who you are, your title, but also your whiteness, you carry power and you can do something. And so I think a lot of the allyship is about doing something because they have the supposed inherent power, which makes them more seen, more heard. And because of that, they add a bit more fuel to the fight.
Yeah, I want to walk through the text now and throw a few things at you and ask the same question of different iterations of our fight. And the question simply is, to your mind, what the enduring legacy is of the resistance in this particular era, in this particular moment. So I want to start with the Black Power era. There's a part in the book titled Black Power Rises. What is the enduring legacy of the resistance that we saw come forth from the Black Power generation?
Yeah, I think for them, I would say that's where I got the idea that freedom wasn't free, because what sparked them into action was they saw the countless deaths of Black people in their community, and they said, we have to step up and we have to do something. We have to guard our neighborhood, literally guard, be armed, and guard our neighborhood because we're being shot down by police officers who are supposed to take care of us. And so they understood to get the freedom, to get the respect, they have to do something.
Yep. Beyond the obvious, which is the seminal legislation that came out of the Civil Rights Movement, the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, et cetera, et cetera. Beyond that, seminal legislation, what do you regard as the enduring legacy of the resistance that we saw in the Civil Rights era?
Yeah, I would say that our democracy is precious. Our democracy is worth protecting. And that was the first time that we saw the freedoms that were so fought for finally enshrined into law, which shows that our democracy can work if we had, again, more allies, if we had more people in power who saw the need for equity and equality and parity. So it starts with understanding the history and the meaning of democracy, because it is precious, it's worth protecting, but it includes all of us, not some of us.
Mm-hmm. Fast forwarding here, there's a part in the book that's called A Resurrection of Black Liberation. That's a strong phrase. Do you believe that we're in a moment right now where we are seeing the resurrection of Black liberation?
Oh, that was 2010. Yes. So I think we're seeing a new surge of it, right? Because that era, that was when Michael Brown died. I think that chapter covers Johnetta Elvey. That was when Michael Brown was, and that's when we saw the propelling of the Black Lives Matter movement. I think we're going to see something very similar in the next year or two with all the things that Trump and his administration are doing right now. I think young people are paying attention. I think young people are going to get more politically and civically engaged. For example, I just saw, David Hogg become the DNC vice chair. We need more of that. We need more intergenerational leadership. So I do think there is something brewing right now, but I think it actually may be more strategic. We may see less street stomping and more people getting into office and trying different strategic ways to get their voices heard.
Speaking of strategic ways to get their voices heard, I've had a number of persons on this program over the last few weeks. We are inside, of course, Donald Trump's 100 days, and I've heard the word boycott. I heard the word boycott more recently than I've heard it in a long time, specifically economic boycotts, given all these companies that are turning away from diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have to be more targeted. The NAACP has been on top of this issue, demanding that we be more targeted in how we spend our dollars vis-a-vis those companies that are turning away from diversity initiatives. What role do you think economic boycotting plays in this moment in the resistance?
It depends, right? So I was asking someone the other day, it depends on how loud the noise is. I know Target was hit with their stockholders.
Sure.
I think those people who have higher stake in the company, they have more power. Boycotting the company, if it's just 1,000 people, it doesn't really affect your bottom line. But if the stakeholders step up and say, why would you hide the fact that you are pulling back from DEI and sue the company? There's more power there. I think there's power in the people. There's power in resistance. There's obviously more power in the numbers. So I was asking this friend of mine, I said, it depends on how many people decide to boycott. Because if you only have 1,000 versus 1 million, you really are not making much impact. Now, where the impact comes from is the stakeholders. So if they walk away from the company or they pull out, the company faces a grave decline. Yeah. So I do think there's a place for each thing, but it depends on the numbers and who the stakeholders are and what they're doing with their power.
Have you noticed a particular profile of the 21st century freedom fighter?
Yeah, I think most of them, they're leaning on hope, right? Because they see that we don't have a choice and we have to turn our attention, our focus to action, accountability, and activism, right? So I think they're moving away more from being, downtrodden and sad about the reality and saying, we have to have hope, we have to step up, and we have the power. So I've seen that more, and I think we're seeing that more because they're able to organize and galvanize much quicker because of the likes of social media and technology.
I started this program an hour and a half ago. My first conversation was with a black pollster, who brought forth some data that wasn't so encouraging. In short order, the data suggests that post the election of Donald Trump, black folk, black women in particular, are disappointed in the way that Kamala Harris was treated or maltreated. There is some political fatigue right about now, and some of us in the black community have sort of checked out, at least for the moment, which leads me to ask whether or not, when you talk about a book called Resist, whether in this moment you are concerned at all about resistance fatigue on the part of black folk.
I think it's happening, but I think we need to fight it, right? I think now more than ever, we need to be paying it forward and paying attention. Abraham Lincoln said, I am an optimist. I don't see the point in being anything else. And I think we can definitely learn from that because it serves no purpose to sit aside. It serves no purpose to be passive. Every single one of us can be part of the resistance. You can start a book club that all you do is read the banned books. You can volunteer at your local immigration clinic. Every single one of us can do something, but first we have to understand that we have the power to do something. It makes no sense, in my opinion, to spend the next 4 years depressed, angry. Do something with that anger. Go volunteer. Go start some group and do something. Be part of the solution.
I was just about to offer as the exit question what the resistance looks like for her, Rita Amoka, in this moment, but I think she just answered it. So I'll just say that the new book is called Resist, How a Century of Young Black Activists Shaped America. The author of that book has been our guest, Professor Rita Amoka. Congratulations on the text. Thanks for the conversation and all the best to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My great honor. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Why does Tavis say, when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. 86-year-old Andrew Lester, charged in the shooting of black teenager Ralph Yarl, avoided trial by agreeing to a plea deal for lesser charges. He pleaded guilty to second-degree assault, avoiding the original felony charges. President Trump suggested Ukraine started the war with Russia, dismissing complaints about Ukraine's exclusion from peace talks. He criticized Ukraine for not ending the conflict, while President Zelensky insisted no decision can be made without Ukraine. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has a court appearance today regarding dropped federal corruption charges. The DOJ's decision caused backlash and resignations. Adams denies making a deal with the Trump administration. Governor Hochul is monitoring the situation. And Glorilla, D'Angelo, Lenny Kravitz, and Meek Mill will headline this year's Roots Picnic Festival happening May 31st through June 1st in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, CalHope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are facing the prospect of not having LeBron for tonight's home game against Charlotte. Soreness in LeBron's left foot and ankle forced the Lakers to list him as questionable for the team's first game in the second half of the season. The soreness led LeBron to sit out Sunday's NBA All-Star game in San Francisco. The Lakers play at Portland Thursday night. It's unlikely the 40-year-old LeBron will play in back-to-back games. The Lakers are at Denver on Saturday. A positive sign for the Lakers tonight is the increase in minutes for Luka Doncic. Doncic averaged 23.5 minutes in his first 2 games with the Lakers. Now that Doncic has recovered from a strained calf muscle, Lakers coach J.J. Redick said the minutes restriction on Doncic will be lifted. Look for Doncic to handle the ball a whole lot more if LeBron does not play. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, CalHope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like your style, though.
This is an ad by BetterHelp Online Therapy. When it comes to relationships, we often hear about the red flags we should avoid, but it's just as important to focus on the green flags. Think about how you want a relationship to feel, one where your boundaries are respected and you're encouraged to be your best self. If you're not sure what that looks like, therapy can help you identify those qualities so you can embody the green flag energy yourself and find it in others. Because whether you're dating, married, or building a friendship, it's time to form relationships that love you back. BetterHelp connects you to a diverse network of over 30,000 therapists worldwide with expertise in a wide range of issues, from depression and anxiety to work and relationships. It's 100% online and sign up only takes a few minutes. Find your green flag energy with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABC Radio today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABC Radio.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Baby, let's cruise away from here. Don't be confused. The way is clear. And if you want it, you got it forever. This is not a one-night stand, baby. So let the music take your mind. Ooh, just release and you will find you're gonna fly away. Glad you're going my way. I love it when we're cruising together.
Every time I hear this song, for obvious reasons, I want to just get away. But I'm stuck here for another 90 minutes. I'm only halfway through this show, trying to squeeze this 800-pound show into a 600-pound bag. We are celebrating the 85th birthday of William Smokey Robinson Jr. Happy birthday, Smokes. 85 years young. As I mentioned a couple times already, he just announced his residency resuming in Las Vegas in April. So Smokey is still doing it, and I ain't mad at him. I'm delighted to welcome to this program in just a moment the real-life person behind Coleman Domingo's Oscar-nominated performance in the film Sing Sing. His name is John Divine G. Whitfield. We'll talk about his work and witness fighting to free those wrongfully convicted. But first, let me play for you the trailer for the film Sing Sing.
To die, to sleep, to dream.
This is a clemency hearing for your conviction, 25 to life. Since you've been in custody, you've been involved in a theater program.
Gentlemen, let's go. It's been a program that was established to help people get more in touch with their feelings and truly get some rehabilitation.
I am Gladiator Goliath. I am Spartacus.
I'm Prince Hamlet of Denmark.
And it's turned into something of, I don't know, wonderful.
What part do you play?
From time to time I do act, like we all do.
So are you acting at all during this interview?
We here to become human again. and enjoy the things that is not in our reality.
I think you guys are becoming real with each other and vulnerable.
Listen, I already know what you're doing, know who you are, what you about, bro. What? You don't get to tell me what I need in prison. You don't get to do that. And don't bring me in those dark corners no more.
The world expects brothers like you and I to walk in with our heads held down. Now, what you gotta walk in like a king. Everything is yours.
I'm divine now.
Yeah.
This is my theater.
Now give him some love, give him some love.
Go to your most perfect spot. Do you hear anything? Are you with somebody? Are you outside? Hold that feeling.
You gotta admit that I murdered that Hamlet, bro. Shakespeare is in his grave right now. He rolled over.
You did your thing, beloved.
I love that scene. Coleman Domingo is on a roll these days. I am mad at Coleman Domingo. Oscar nominated for his performance in the film Sing Sing, but the real life person is John Divine G. Whitfield, who I'm honored to have on this program for a few minutes. Divine G, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm doing real fine, man. It's a pleasure to be on this show with you, Tavis.
It's an honor to have you on this program, man. Let me start right quick. What did that nickname Divine G come from?
Well, it's a name I had, man, for practically all of my life. I think I acquired that name when I was around 12, 13. It's basically a name. It's really, actually, we're a part of a group called the 5%, Nation of Gods and Earth, and those are like attributes that we take on when we see certain characteristics in an individual, and we take them on and we represent them as a culturalistic thing, in which people perceive me as being divine. Divine is basically culture, holy, sacred, and pure.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Names ought to mean something, and that does. So I wanted to make sure I understood what that name meant and where it came from. What did you think of the film? Are you happy with it? You must be happy with this nomination Coleman got.
Oh, yeah, I'm very happy with it, and Coleman did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And on top of that, actually, we've been nominated for an adapted screenplay award, so I'm going to L.A., next week.
So you're coming to the show?
Yeah, I'm going to be here. I'm going down there next week on the 24th. I meant to tell you that I was going to be down there in L.A. on the 25th, and we probably could have did this show face to face.
I wish I'd known that. I would have told my team, no. I can talk to him on the phone, but get that Negro in studio. I would love to have Divine G come in to talk about it. But you're right. Adapted screenplay is nominated for. Coleman nominated for Best Actor. So it's a celebration. No matter what happens on Oscar night, this is a big deal. Oftentimes when we see these stories, there are questions about how true they really are. This is based on a true story. Anything about the way they told it that bothered you?
Well, actually, because I am a writer, so I contributed to the writing. Sure. And not only that, I have a story credit as well because I'm the primary subject of the story, including Clarence Macklin, who's also, it's an interaction of both our stories. I'm very satisfied. I mean, there were minor situations where we had to tweak it to meet, certain theatrical circumstances, but for the most part, it is 100% true, especially that parole board scene. We took that right out of the transcripts of my actual parole board hearing. And when they asked me that question, Coleman actually won an Academy based on his response because that was 100%.
Yeah. When we come forward, I want to go right to that parole board hearing and have you tell me more about that particular moment. It is one of the most powerful moments in the film. Our guest is John Divine G. Whitfield. He is the person on whom this story is built. And Coleman Domingo, Oscar nominated for his performance in the film Sing Sing. More with Divine G when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, and I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with John Divine G. Whitfield. He is the subject of the film Sing Sing, for which Coleman Domingo has been Oscar nominated. It's also nominated for an adapted screenplay. I may have to look at your schedule and my schedule and see if I can get you in here when you come down to L.A. next week, in part because my time is so tight in this half hour. But just top line for me, Divine G, I know it's a lot, but just top line for me, the backstory for how you wound up in prison in the first place, and I want to fast forward to that parole meeting.
Well, growing up in Brooklyn, East New York, Brownsville, and Canarsie, it was a pretty rough neighborhood. And with my situation, I was somewhat of a rare kid, man. I was going to school, dancing with a dance group. I was a neighborhood DJ, very popular. And I was doing the right thing, graduated high school, the whole 9 yards. But what happened is I got to this severe automobile accident, got severely hurt, couldn't work, and then I, snuck out, sold some drugs. I got caught for that, and, I went upstate for a minor little crime for a year, and while I was incarcerated upstate, some guy fabricated a homicide on me, brought me back down, recharged me for this, did some tactic called trial by ambush, had no idea who was accusing me. I get found guilty, get upstate. So now once they found me guilty, I was all out on a fight for this. I was going to fight this the rest of my life. I didn't do it, wasn't there, don't even know the person, period. And eventually I went upstate and I eventually found evidence of my innocence. I lived in the law library, became an efficient jailhouse lawyer, found massive evidence of my innocence, and could not get out. And I mean, they were just rubber stamping things, covering things up. And right now, you can go to a website called www.freediving.org, and you can read that evidence of my innocence And I'm also asking you to sign a petition, whoever goes to that website, because what I'm doing now is I'm trying to fight this and to use the power of the public command to get some attention on my case, because without it, I don't think anything is going to happen. But to make a long story short, that clemency scene that you see in the movie, that was a clemency hearing that I received from Governor Elliott Spitzer. And in that clemency scene, he considered me for a full pardon as well as an alternative computation of the sentence. And that was like groundbreaking in Sing Sing. I mean, the whole jail was like in an uproar, like, wow, I was probably the first one to be considered for a full pardon. Obviously, they didn't grant it. It was unheard of in New York State for them to grant clemency for any kind of violent crime. But the mere fact that Governor Elliott Spitzer finally took the time to read that evidence, it meant a lot. But at some point, I eventually went to my regular parole board hearing, and that is the transcripts, what you see in the movie. See, we didn't have the clemency transcripts because they're confidential. You can't have them. That's a state law that forbids you from using them. So, yes, that's how it kind of ended up in the movie. We took that transcript from the actual parole board hearing and used it as the clemency hearing.
Yep. It is one of, as I said, one of the most powerful scenes in the movie. That's my read of it. How do you read the scene as it appears on the big screen?
No, it came off perfect. I mean, of course, we had to, shorten it a bit. But for the most part, all of the actual factual circumstances were accurate. And I'm very content with it. And I just love Coleman Domingo's response, because that was my response. I mean, as a founding member of Rehabilitation Through the Arts, we created this program for the sole purpose of empowering, incarcerated individuals, giving them the tools that they need to make sure that when they go home, they don't come back. In fact, we have a recidivism level of 3% for anybody that's been involved in RTA in comparison to 60% of other incarcerated individuals that don't go through a program like ours. So our 3% recidivism speaks volumes of the power of theater. So we kind of sensed this when we created this group. And when we drew up our mission statement, it was clear cut that it was all about trying to make sure that when individuals got out, they stayed out, allowed them to heal, cope, and basically reclaim their humanity. Because prison is one of the most inhumane environments you can possibly fathom. And we were able to combat that just with theatrical arts, just with creative arts.
We'll talk more about Rehabilitation Through the Arts, the work and witness of John Divine G. Whitfield, when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful.
Hi, this is Matayo. And this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment.
Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you gonna eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and John Divine G. Whitfield. He is the real-life person behind Coleman Domingo's Oscar-nominated performance in the film Sing Sing, also nominated for an adapted screenplay Oscar. I ain't mad at Divine G. or Coleman Domingo. In the 5 minutes I have left, Divine G., tell me more about your prison reform advocacy and rehabilitation through the arts, sir.
Well, rehabilitation through the arts, as I noted, it's a program that was created primarily as a tool for teaching life skills, giving individuals empowerment, through the arts. Mm-hmm. Because when you deal with arts, as you may know, and I'm quite sure you've researched this, when you engage in art, there are just so many life skills components connected to that. Mm-hmm. You got management skills, problem-solving skills, communication skills. It's just so much. I can't even begin to list them. So what we were doing is we were using it as a vehicle, and to our, not to our surprise, because we sensed it, that it actually had a huge impact on changing the prison environment, changing the recidivism levels. And to this day, we have like 10 facilities in New York State that are actually, promoting this program. And when we started it, that was our mission. We had an outside civilian. We had several of them, Catherine Valkins, Linda Atkinson, Linda Moeller, a few of them who were actually helping us push the program above and beyond just the prison walls of Sing Sing. So now it's in prisons all over New York State. And now we're working to make it available all across the country if possible, because we genuinely believe, man, through the power of arts, it allows people to tap into their humanity. And it actually helps healing. It helps in so many areas that there's something that we need to do a lot more of.
Yeah. How hopeful are you that you can, in fact, scale this program up across the country?
Well, actually, we're doing it right now. We have, I think it's a place in Ohio that decided to take on the program. I believe there's another facility somewhere in California. I forgot the exact location, but there's 2 areas right now where we're thinking about scaling it. We, now that the movie has finally drew some attention to the program, obviously that gives us a vehicle to kind of expand it a little more. So there are efforts being made right now as we speak to try to expand the program, because we genuinely believe that the creative arts are very powerful. And for me, the arts held a unique place, because me serving time in prison for a crime I didn't commit, found the evidence of my innocence and just couldn't get out, it was life-saving for me. It allowed me to hang on to that element of my life that was always good. Because when I was young, growing up, I was a natural born helper. I was just one of them good individuals that I went out of my way to help people. And getting convicted of something like that you didn't do, finding the evidence and seeing how brutal this system is and how they have no problem covering up, hiding, and doing all that other stuff, it can make you bitter.
Yeah.
So at that point with RTA, when we created that, I used it as a therapeutic mechanism for me, to say that no matter what happens, how much punishment, how much pain I'm going through, injustice or whatever, I'm going to make sure that I never allow that experience to make me bitter, and I'm going to do everything in my power during this experience to make me better. Make me better, and that's what RTA contributed to.
I got 30 seconds here. For those who believe that prison rehabilitation is not really possible, you say what?
I tell them, listen, look at our stats. You know, look at the history of our program, research our program, and you'll see that our 3% recidivism level works. And all it takes is just brotherhood, having empathy, you know, the tapping into your humanity, and just being open to trying new things, because we always think outside the box. And I just want to put further great emphasis on the fact that me serving time in prison for a crime I didn't commit, now I'm fighting this. And through RTA, it helped me, you know, develop that skill set enough to right now, I have a website going on right now called www.freediving.org, and you can look at that website and you can see that evidence of innocence. And I'm asking individuals to sign that petition, because there's no way this system is going to give me justice without the power of the public command.
I'm out of time, Divine G. I don't want to make sure. I think I recall this. It's not just the best adapted screenplay. It's not just the best lead actor. Aren't you also nominated for best original song?
Yes, exactly. Those three. Yep. Original song as well.
Speaking of the arts, I don't want to leave that out. So it's an amazing film. Yeah. Amazing film called Sing Sing, nominated. Coleman Domingo is for best lead actor, best adapted screenplay, and best original song. It is the true story of the life and times of one John Divine G. Whitfield. Divine G, good to have you on, man. Safe travels out to LA. Maybe I'll see you when you get here.
Yeah. Hey, I'll drop you a line when I get in. I'll give you a little call.
You do that, man. Stay strong. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. 86-year-old Andrew Lester, charged in the shooting of black teenager Ralph Yarl, avoided trial by agreeing to a plea deal for lesser charges. He pleaded guilty to second-degree assault, avoiding the original felony charges. President Trump suggested Ukraine started the war with Russia, dismissing complaints